The first is obvious questions which we saw, why somebody go for Pentaho. This is few of the facts will remain same. Open source, huge community support, almost 14,000 odd members are supporting them. Matured enough, so it started, it has 15 years old history. So it is evolved over the time period. Then it is catering to various business requirements. We have already seen one case study, and we have already seen it is running in so many production houses already. Then supports sub-report features, rich set of charts and graphs. It has good support of connectivity. You can connect with RDBMS, you can connect with MDX. Community data access is another channel through which you can connect to different data sources. Then you can use scripting, static table definitions, you can use hard-coded data as well to support your findings. It supports NoSQL as well, so you can connect to Cassandra or MongoDB and pull out the data and present it in the report. Other than that, it also you can connect to HBase directly from PRD and pull the data. It has two main components. One is designer, report designer, and second is reporting engine. So reporting engine is residing at the bottom, and on top of that designer is built. You can use only reporting engine, which can be embedded in your existing application, and you can use their API, and using that you can embed in your existing application. So that's very, very good flexibility. Okay, we have already seen two components, report designer and reporting engine, and the third one is reporting SDK. So when you are using report designer, you will have report designer and reporting engine. So reporting engine has mainly chart-based support. So chart-based components are integrated in reporting engine. It can be embedded in any Java reporting library. So it is a jar. Can be used at server side as well as client side. So if you are using swing based applications, so you can embed in the client side application as well. And then there is reporting SDK. So using SDK, you can query. It is pluggable. You add it in the jar. So this reporting engine is already included with designer, but SDK is something which is taken out of this reporting designer, and only SDK you can embed when you don't want to use designer as a feature and you just want to use SDK. So for Windows, you will be using report designer.bat. Linux, it will be .sh. For Macintosh, they are distributing separately, and there you will find .app as a folder. So once you click, you can launch it. How to start? So we have seen how to start. You just double click reporting.bat and reportdesigner.bat and it will start. Now once you start first time, then so much you can correlate, you can go to your, is there any question? Okay, yeah. So you can go to your user home and you can see .pentaho directory, and others also. Whenever you will install it, you will unzip and you will first time run it, then you will see .pentaho folder will be created under your users home. So users home again will be different for Windows users, will be different for Linux user. So I was just going through this hierarchy of .pentaho folder. So it will have caches that will, as the name says, it will cache a few resources which are used extensively by report designer. So it will cache like artifacts like fonts, samples, and which will help to speeding up report rendering. Then it has classic engine folder which will cache directory containing low level options. So again, the caching format, Typically, you won't find anything here, classing engine. Internally, it is being used. So few things will go in classic engine, few things will go in caches folder. Then logs is where it is pushing the logs. And why they have kept it under .pentaho, because single user can use same PRD home. So how to distinguish which log is for which user? So that's why logs folder is under users home under .pentaho. Report designer is where it will cache your samples, distributed samples, as well as user preferences. So again, it is a desktop tool. You may have your own customized preferences, so that will be saved in report designer. Simple JNDI. So actually the name simple is misleading. It should have been just JNDI, but this is open source and it's been there since long, so it is still same. So JNDI is where you will keep your JNDI related configuration. So there will be one .properties file. We are going to see it, study it and configure it. So that's where you will configure your JNDI. By default, it will have one JNDI configuration, which will be HSQLDB sample. Now this is designer layout. When you start the report designer, you will see UI like this. First is welcome screen, and on the welcome screen, this is a small pop-up. So because of this border, probably you may not be able to see this as a pop-up, but this is a pop-up. It is showing you these are the samples, and here is a report wizard. And if you want to start right away with the new report, you can click on new report and the welcome page will go away and you can go to the blank reporting mode. What is report wizard? So report wizard is the one which we won't be covering with example, because it is just clicking on next and just configuring. Once you have configured the data source, then you have to just select the data source, select the columns, and it is as good as any installation of any tool where you just click on next and at the end it will render the report. So report wizard, what is report wizard? So this is what you can achieve using report wizard. It is 4-step. So 4 times you'll have to click on next, and before clicking on next, of course you'll have to configure appropriate step. So first step is look and feel. You can select. So these are the templates, and there are 4 templates: cobalt, jade, maple, and nickel. So you can select one of your favorite, and the next steps, 4 steps are there where you can select data source and query. Then layout step where you will select what all columns you need. So you'll have to select layout, and then format step. So you can do formatting. So if you want to do something, you want to make something bold facet, then you can choose that, some italics letters. If it is numeric, then you can use numeric formatting. And this is what is report wizard. So using this, by clicking few next and by configuring each step, you can do it nice reporting. You don't get too much flexible options here, because once you select a template, you cannot change it in the reporting wizard. Though in the report individually you can change it. Now we are diving deeper in master report. You can see the first one is page header, which is used to represent top of each report page. So if you have 10 pages, then this page header will be repeated on all pages. So 10 times it will be repeated. Then the next one is report header. So report header and page header, very important to understand. There is a difference. Report header, because you are regardless of number of pages, it is single report. So report header will be repeated only once. So first time only it will be appeared on top, and then on next subsequent pages there won't be any report header, whereas page header will be repeated on each page. Then there is group. By the way, this right side hierarchy, whenever you will open new report, you can see the same hierarchy. There is no change. The group is where most of the work is going to go in. Whenever you will be working on reporting, mostly you will be playing with the details which is under the group. So group, why name group? Because typically when there is bunch of data which is getting aggregated, so you will be using group. For example, you want to generate the report based on region, then you will get the data. You will devise a query in such a way that it will give you data of all the regions, but in group you will select region, and then for each region it will start, you can configure, it will start on the new page and it will pull the data for that region and embed it on that reporting pages. So each group has header, so you can mention, okay, this particular group now belong to North region, and now after that header your details will follow. At the bottom you can see at North region we are doing so and so. This is the profit we are deriving. So far the growth is very good, so no need to focus too much on North region. So that type of footer comment you can add in group footer. In details body, that is where actual data you will be represented. All the details of that particular region, performance numbers will be arranged. Few charts if you want you can add. Again, details will have header and footer. So this is a common for each default head elements or what we can say, page, report, group and details. These 4 elements will have header and footer. So like page header, page footer, report header, report footer, group header, group footer, and details header, detail footer. So each of these 3 or 4 types will have details as well. Watermark is the one. Okay, in details part, if there is no data, then they have defined one extra band, no data. So it is possible that, especially when you're selecting from drop down and you're selecting South region, and in South region you're about to start, so far there is no data, then in that case in no data you have to add some comment, and that will be embedded at runtime. So you can say, sorry, there is no data available so far, and after a quarter you can see some data, so visit after quarter. Watermark is the feature where you can add watermark so that you can make it confidential. Whenever you take printout, it will be prominent, so information cannot be misused, as well as branding and trading will be preserved. Now we'll be seeing, okay, so while I show you, I will also start Pentaho reporting on my machine. So I'm going to Report Designer 5.1 folder, and this is Report Designer.bat. And I'm starting, and typically it takes a few seconds, 15-20 seconds to start, and during that it loads its libraries. So typically whenever you create launch your Eclipse also, or any IDE, it configures, it pulls the data into cache or into memory, and then it launches. So that's what it does. And in the flash screen it tells you this is the version 5.1.0.0-752. So that is the latest version available. And this is the home screen. Can you guys see my screen? I have just switched from slide show to Pentaho Report Designer. Okay, so Mesh and Madhu are saying yes, so I believe everybody is able to see. Yeah, so this is the welcome screen. Now instead of explaining on slide, I will explain here only. So these are the, this is the welcome page. You can see advanced charts. These are the default examples. And if you'll open, these are actual reports, report names. And we'll skip this and we'll launch new reports. So you can click on file and click on new. And it will open this new page, empty report. You can see the ruler. You can change the page size from page setup, and there are different predefined sizes, later, transverse. If you use extended, okay, so later extra, if you use that, then you'll see right now it is how much, around 7.5 inches, and if I'll use later extra, then it is increased. Okay, so it was previously 6.5 inches, I guess, and then now it is 7.5 inches. And okay, so now let me switch back to slideshow. So this is how you can launch the new report, empty report, and these are different labels. And this is an example, page header, report header. These are examples. So we quickly drop labels here. So page header, and the value if you want to assign to label, there are two ways. One is you just double click and you can see this two dots, a three dots button. So click on that, it will pop up the label one. Rename it to page header so that we can distinguish at runtime. This is coming from page header. Now we'll increase the size just to make it prominent. So we'll make it 20. And so by default word wrap is on. So we can resize it. Again, it is YCYG, so you can resize using mouse. You can drag it, drop it, whichever way you think it is best soothing to your eyes. Then reporting header we will add label and reporting header. Now if you want to copy the format and paste it here, rather than you again doing the same thing, you can just say copy, and so you can click on Ctrl+C as well, and while pasting you just right click and say paste formatting. That's it. So it just paste formatting, not style. So resizing part still you'll have to do. Now you can see this G, or here also G is cutting off. The reason is because its height is less, and you can increase the height. So here it is 20, so rather than 20 we will change it to 30, and you can see this G prominently visible. Now details, we'll quickly add details. Now reporting footer, while adding, rather than going through that approach, I'll show you another approach where you can see value on the attribute tab is label. So here you can change it to report footer. And here is page footer. And now I'm going to apply formatting here. At a time you can apply to 3 elements formatting. So you'll have to hold down shift key and select all 3 elements and then click on formatting, paste formatting, and you can select these 3 and resize by increasing the width. So it is 100%, I will make it 200%, sorry, 200 pixels, and height also I can make it 30. Yeah, so we're done. We added labels to all the visible bands. And how do you execute the report? So you don't need to save the report. Okay, Somesh is saying, are you going to cover the expressions? Somesh, I am going to touch base the expression. In couple of examples, expressions will be used, but that will be at high level. So assuming that you guys are new to Pentaho report designing, not only Pentaho reporting, but overall Pentaho, you will be new. So with that context, I'll be covering. I believe you are the one who is already using Pentaho reporting. So if you are already using Pentaho reporting, for you, those expression may be not complex. But yeah, I'll be touch basing. If you have any specific questions, you can ask, and I can answer those questions. Yeah, so how do you execute the reporting? So this is the green arrow button. You just click there. So it pops you up these many options. First is print preview. So you can just do print preview just like other print preview. Then you can generate the report in different formats: PDF, HTML, old Excel format, then Excel 2007 format, RTF text, and CSV. So we'll do first print preview. So you can see page header. Okay, this small label. Okay, this is misplaced, it seems. Then page header, reporting footer, and there is, for details, there is nothing, because nothing is coming in the details. We haven't added any query, so no data is available in the details. So details is missing here, and page footer is appeared at the bottom. Now to make these details visible even if there is no data, in that case we'll have to add something in the no data, and by default no data is turned off. So you just right click on no data and you can see hide element, which is checked. You just unchecked it, and now you can see no data. This band was by default hidden, because typically when you are working on reporting, you are mainly interested in visible data, not invisible data. So this is rare test case scenario. That's why default setting is no data is invisible. Now we will add label here. So if you will observe, even if I just click, if my report is selected, I just click, it adds the label. Now I will say, sorry, no data available, and we'll copy it and paste the formatting, resize it, and now this time will execute in PDF. Yeah, so you can see page header, and here you can see sorry, no data available, and then reporting footer and page footer. So each header has corresponding footer, and details, basically there is no details data, so no data available is getting appeared. So this was our first example. Now we already studied this. Yeah, so this was the slide which we have covered. Now let's understand the general workflow. We just studied labels, and that was very basic example. We are going to dive deeper and So we have given two modules for Pentaho report designing. So today and tomorrow we'll be covering PRD. So today is going to be introduction and basic. Tomorrow we'll dive deeper and understand more advanced features. Sorry, not tomorrow, next session. So next Saturday. So to create a report using a report designer, here are the following steps. First step, you'll have to configure your data source. Whatever way, whatever data source you want to connect from plethora of different options. You can have table, you can have database, files, HDFS data or OLAP data. So make sure you configure that. That is the first step. Second step, add appropriate queries. Obviously, once source is configured, how are you going to pull the data? Okay, Somesh is asking report designer. How report designer executes the report? Or route me where I can find that. Okay, so I believe you, what do you mean by how it executes report designer? Do you mean how it is reading the file, PRPT file, collating the information at runtime and producing the report? Is it what you are trying to understand, Somesh? Okay. Probably that will be too deeper, but I will definitely send out a link to support, and support you will get that information from support, because that will be best topic of advanced reporting, not also Pentaho, just specific reporting. So yes, definitely that's interesting, and I know you are already studying, so you know too much about Pentaho reporting already. So I will pass on the information to support, and you can yeah, so whoever wants, you can connect with support and they can share that information. So after configuring the data source, you will have to write a query which will pull only required data. So next task is writing query based on your requirement. The third task is, once you have data available, now how are you going to represent it? So you will design the report, add appropriate data elements, and do mapping, data mapping, so that okay, this is my text field. My text field should be mapped to region. So I will do that mapping, and details will have tables. Tables have 4 fields. They will be mapped to dimensions and then fact. So that type of task you will be doing in this third step. Then comes styling. So this is most important. Even if you are a developer, I'm sure you must be landed up in a role of designer. Although typically designer is going to be specialized skill set, but everybody has to play that role interchangeably. So how I can make my report looking very rich, which can stand out from the crowd. So you will have to add styles. Again, this supports different styles. You can add extra graphical elements. It supports graphical charts as well. So bar chart and spike line chart, multiple charts it supports. As well as you can add background color and make it standing out, so borders, different styles you can use to make it rich. Then the next step is add analytical abilities. So you can create formulas, as Sumesh was asking, expressions. You can add expressions. You can calculate the field. So at runtime, depending on some value of your column, you want to make a decision. Okay, if my region is south, and because south operations is not started, you can make that particular element of data not available very highlighting. So red background and yellow font face, font text color. So that type of calculated fields are possible. check the preview. So before you running the PDF, actually creating the job, you can check the preview, make sure it is coming up properly, and then you can go for the another generating the report, because generating report has more overheads than seeing preview. When you generate the report internally, basically this is what in fact Somesh's question was. Internally it creates raw report and then it adds conversion engine, and depending on your end format, whether it is PDF, whether it is Excel, whether it is HTML, it converts that raw report to PDF. So it has PDF engine. For Excel, again it is using open standard, so they call it what, OOXXL. So that engine it is using to convert your report to Excel. So this is what it does in the second last step. Then you will have to publish the report. So if you want to publish the report, you can publish it to Pentaho BI server. How to publish this report to Pentaho BI server, that will be covering in the last module, because by the time you should have also covered BI server. So that's the reason we'll be covering this particular example in the last module. You can integrate it with PDA job as well. So when we'll be covering PDI, we will be covering example of this as well. Or the best way, the simplest way we just saw, you can locally create PDF or any other format which is of your need. Now these are the supported data sources. JDBC, the most common. You will have to make sure you have added appropriate JDBC driver. If, for example, if we'll be using MySQL extensively, so you'll have to make sure MySQL jar, JDBC jar is added in the lib folder, Pentaho design tools. Okay, so first Pentaho design tools you can skip, because this is you can change it with PRD home, and then in fact report designer. So first three for hierarchy is PRD home, and then lib, under that lib folder you are going to copy JDBC jar. Metadata is another data source, so you can configure metadata as well in Pentaho reporting. Then metadata, Pentaho data integration. So if you have some ETL job running, and at the end ETL is spitting data in terms of table, then you can use PDI as well to connect as a data source. So we are talking about all data sources which are supported by PRD. Then there is OLAP, multidimensional data source. You have support for OLAP as well, and by default it supports Mondrian. Then Pentaho analysis. This is a Mondrian schema file, so you can feed that Pentaho analysis schema file, and it will route the query through that schema file and pull the data. Then Pentaho analysis denormalize. So again Mondrian schema file which will be denormalized. So both are actually same, last two. So this is rich set of data sources which PRD is supporting. We are going to cover JDBC support for examples, from examples perspective. Now in our previous example which we have demonstrated, we haven't saved that file yet. But okay, so these are remaining data sources which are also supported. XML, again nowadays most of the stuff is coming into XML. So XML is also supported, but you'll have to use XQuery as a query interfacing language for that. Then table, so you can have static table which you can create, or you can create hard-coded, or you can create from imported Excel file. So in fact this example we are going to cover today. Okay, Somesh is saying can you add example with PDA as data source? Okay, Somesh, I don't give, I cannot give guarantee at this time. I will see if time permits. I will definitely try to add. Let me note it. Yeah, so I will see if I can add example of PDI as a data source. If not in the next session, yeah, before completing our module, or maybe, yeah, so in the project that would be good point. Yeah, so anyways, for project we have almost 3 weeks to go. So in the project I will try to add it. NoSQL. Okay, the table I was saying, yeah, so we are going to cover example of table. NoSQL also you can connect, and NoSQL actually we are going to cover one example of PDI. So PDI, how can you connect to NoSQL, which is MongoDB, which we will be seeing in the example. Then big data. So big data is supported by all the client tools. Let it be PRD, let it be PDI, or even BA server. And as far as example is concerned, big data, we are going to see a couple of examples in PDI. Then these are few advanced data sets, or rather I would put it customized data sets. You can write some SQL and you want to use that outcome of that SQL, so that records it as a data source. So that is also possible. Or these are scriptable, so you can use JavaScript or Bean Shell. These are different scripts, and using that you can generate some custom data set, and that can also be feed as a possible data source. Then using JMI, Java method invocation, you can allow designer to access data via Java method. This is more basically using too flexible feature of PRD and dynamically changing the method name. So it is through API support you can achieve this Java method invocation. So these are rich set of data sources supported by PRD. In day-to-day basis, you can connect to JDBC, that is the most common scenario, or you may end up connecting to PDI, because PDI in turn is connecting to JDBC, and you are doing a lot of ETL stuff. So rather than you pushing the data from PDI to some RDBMS and PRD is connecting to that RDBMS, you can complete that flow there. Or another common scenario could be you can connect PRD to some NoSQL based database, or there is a huge data made available in CSV format or fixed file format or Excel format, then that can be also sucked in PRD. So that is another common format, another common use case. Now PRD use case of top 5 companies. You are working, here is a problem statement. You are working in a market research firm, and data of top 5 companies you want to see with their respective profits and sales figures. This is the most common use case when it comes to business, because obviously business is created to make money. So profit and sales figures are most important. So this is a typical use case scenario, and now you have to share this data to your clients, and visualization will be bar charts, which will help doing comparative study, profit versus sales, helping the clients to take a right decision on their investment. Now data set for the problem statement is available in LMS. So this is the example. This is the problem statement for our example. You have to get top 5 companies with their respective profit and sales. Now let's go step by step. You'll have to first add the data source. Now how to add the data source? You go to data set, data then create new data report in PRD, click on data tab, and okay, so let me start that example here. Now I will remove everything from here. Switch to data tab, do right click here and say table. Let's cross check. Yeah, so here the right click has pop up this and you clicked on table, select table. So select table is the most convenient form to use. In fact, this is very convenient for business users as well. They can generate report based on table data. Now there is no available query, so you'll have to click on plus. So this small plus button in the green circle you can see, click on that. It will say query 1. You can see it has added by default one row where it is saying ID, which is by default it is assigning a data type as java.lang.string. The whole Pentaho stack is based on Java, so you will see a lot of Java terms. The value, again it is saying it is java.lang.string. This is the default data type. If you will click on, there is a way to change. You double click and you can change it. You can assign different data type. And then to switch back to normal mode, you will have to click on bottom. Okay, it's not allowing me to go to. Okay, so you'll have to click on different column header, then it will go up. Now we are going to import. Okay, let's name it. Let's see what name I have given. Okay, it's default. So we'll name the query as default. Now we're not going to type in all the data manually. So we have the data set which is available in the Excel file. Let me pull the data. Okay. Okay, where is? Yeah, so this is the example. You can see I have opened one Excel and you can see this is arranged in multi-dimensional fashion. So company is one dimension, country is another dimension, series one dimension, and this is a fact. As I said, measure and fact are used interchangeably. Now this is the format. This is our input data which we'll be using for our example. So this is the data of Forbes top 100 companies, the latest data. So here you can see the small buttons. The first one is where you can add empty row. Then second button is add empty column. So if two columns are not sufficient, you can add empty column. And if you want to import the spreadsheet, so at the bottom you can see there is import spreadsheet. Just click on that and you can see this Forbes Top 100 2014 3D. So just open it and it will start importing. It will import the sheet, but it will confuse now which one to choose, because in our Excel if you see there are two sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2. So this is for a different example, but sheet 1 has 3-dimensional data, so multi-dimensional data. So we'll select, okay, let me cross check here which one we're selecting. Yeah, so we are selecting sheet 1. And now you can see by default, in fact this checkbox is there, use first row as a header. So automatically it will take the column headers as header of these columns. Column header of Excel, it will take header. So these are the column header, company, country, series, measure. It has taken automatically as column header of table as well here. Now data format, by default it will assign every column as data format as string. But here intelligently it has assigned data format as double. So we are good. Now you can see there are top 10. So basically in the slide we have mentioned top 5, but here there are top 10. And this is the outcome of PDI. So you can assume this data is been okay, and this data is generated out of your crunching, cleansing, ETL process. So you have derived this top 5 data set, out of which 5 belonging to sales, 5 belonging to profit. Now you will click on OK and we will add bar chart and we will define the series. So configure the bar chart in such a way that we can have 2 bars, one for sales and one for profit. So click on OK. So we are done with configuring data part from the workflow. Now we will add bar chart. Now feel free to resize this because we want to make sure bar should be visible. So all these bands are resizable. They are just using mouse dragging. Hold down your mouse and when the mouse arrow is expandable mode, and then you can resize it. Now on the left side in the palette you can see chart element. This is the chart element, and you can drag and drop. Just double click on it. So there are different types of charts supported by Pentaho, and these are the variety of charts. We are interested in bar chart, so by default bar chart is already selected. Now you have to assign the chart title, top 5 global companies. So by default it's not scroll, it is not scrolling, but it is, I have typed top 5 global companies. Then you have, when you are working on chart, you have series. Okay, let's understand basic elements of charts. Bar chart. Yeah, here from this slide, this will be more prominent. So you can see the range I have selected, title to y-axis, set from left panel like chart title, x-axis, y-axis title. This is all free flow text. You can type in whatever you want. But on right side, if you see category set data collector, and that is where you'll have to configure. You'll have to map with appropriate data elements. So we have, like you can see, category column. So what is the category? So category is nothing but your company. So you can have multiple categories. Actually, you can have multiple series. Category is going to be common. So because you are analyzing comparative performance for companies. So you are going to have categories as common company, but you can have multiple series. And that's where you want to add two elements. Where is the two elements? Okay, first we will add one basic bar chart, and then we will study how to add second element. So we are going to select country here. You can see in the drop box whatever columns we have, whatever data we have imported, it had 4 columns. All 4 columns are appeared here. Now in category column, we are going to select country. Then in value column is always either fact or measures. Again, both names are interchangeable. Here there is no drop down, but it is pop up. And here again you can choose measure. And there is a right arrow. Click on that. It will be selected. Now here series by field, you can add. First we will select measure, series, country, company. We will select series. Okay, so series we have selected, and series has series has already sales as well as profit. Both component are already selected. Sorry, I got it clicked multiple times. So here is the cross button. You can remove it. Click on OK. Yeah, so series has already data arranged in such a way that our both series are already there. So you don't need to add multiple series here. Now but the provision is there. You can add multiple series. You can select multiple elements from the left side and push it here. So depending on your hierarchy, because this is when it is multidimensional data, it depends on the hierarchy. What is your requirement, and depending on requirement you will have to choose appropriate hierarchy. So that's how it supports drill down. And you anything required, chart title we have added, and okay, so let's not change anything. We just added chart title, and we have mapped the fields. Category column we have added country. Value columns we mapped with values, which is measure, and series by field, which is series. Now click on OK, and let's try to execute. We'll execute in print preview. So you can see the charts, but you're not able to see all the elements in one go because there are 5 companies which are top 5 companies, and you're able to see only 2 companies. Even if you will generate the report, a few of you might think, okay, it's in print preview, that's why it's not showing. But even in PDF, it is not showing complete chart. So there is something more to configure. Now we'll quickly go through slide because that's what you are going to go through, and that should make more sense. So here the next element what we are going to configure from chart is x-axis level rotation. Make it 45-degree so that it will be visible. So x-axis level rotation, by default it is all exploded, so you can switch it. Oh, it should work, but not sure why it is not working. But you can explode. Okay, only selected stuff it is working. So you can zip the unwanted stuff, and we are interested in x-axis level rotation. You can type in 45, which will say, okay, I want to rotate the level to 45 degrees, and you can see in print preview this China is now rotated in 45 degrees, so is United States. Now again go to configuration of bar chart. Okay, I'm seeing questions from Somesh. Can you please throw some light on the category column? Series fields in the report, how to determine which one to be placed where. Okay, so Madhu is saying I have selected category as country instead of company. Okay, thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, so category column is where you can see bar chart. Actually, I was waiting for the bar chart to get complete. So instead of that, I can go to here. Yeah, here. So you can see company is a bottom. At the bottom, you can see company, and above one level, you can see names of the companies. Okay. So company is a category. So category set, if you want, so one level deeper, then these are the category names, category elements. So if it is company, then these are company names. If it would have been country, then these could have been country names. So this is the category field. Now the second field was value columns. Value columns is pretty clear. So this actually what based on, it is a quantifiable measure based on what quantity you are going to represent that chart. So that is value. Now series by value and series by field. So right now we have selected series by field. So it is going to determine series from field. So this series by field, it is going to classify, okay, I have selected series as a column. So this particular orange and this is yellow. So orange is depicting sales, and this profit is depicting, yellow is depicting profit. So this is derived from field column, field which is series. If we will switch to Excel, and series is this one. So this particular column, it is deriving series, and it will aggregate sales, it will aggregate profit, and basically it will identify unique values from series, and it will add it as a series by field. If you will say series by value, it is nothing but the value column will be used. So we'll try out that. You remove this, and okay, there is no value column. So I'm not sure why it is not showing. But okay, so series by value column, I will say it theoretically what happens when you select that column of value. So typically it will have value. Then that value column will be selected, and the distinction here you can see sales and profit. So instead of that, in the legend you can see the numbers. You can see the numbers like 100, 200, 300. So you can have this series captured in value column, and that value column needs to be used as a, to create your series. So that's when you will go for series by value. I will give you an example tomorrow. Please change the category first, then leave series as series. Madhu is saying change the category. So Madhu, I am not getting you. So you are saying please change the category first. So fine. So category was in fact I had selected country and it should have been company. Oh, I see. And then I will run the example. So and series by field is we have to select series here. And this is the actual example, our example, and we will do print meshes. So now you can see all 5 charts, because basically previously the configuration was wrong. It was showing only 2 charts, 2 levels, and because the data top 5 companies are coming from United States and China, that's why they were showing 2 countries only. Okay, thanks Madhu, for pointing it out. Yeah, so regarding series by value, the conceptually I have explained. I will demonstrate it tomorrow by example. So I'll see if I can add more dimensions here, and I will show you that example. Now we will configure more because this is looking pretty small. So we will quickly go through other configuration items so that it will look like more enterprise level. You can first of all, you can increase, you can make it maximum occupy. You should not cross your page, and we'll go to its configuration mode, and you can see you can change the font. The rest of the styles, I think you guys, when playing with this example, you can go over it on your own, and in case of queries we can discuss. You can have series color palette defined, and it will pick the series at runtime. So right now it is picking up this one and this one, so orange and yellow. If you don't want that, let's say yellow we don't want, so we will remove that, and the next one is green, so we want, let's say, blue, and we will pull it up and save it. And then when we'll save it, you can see next one, next item in the series taken as blue color. So this tick format you can define. Main I want to say so if you have the data in logarithmic scale, so you can use this feature, enable log axis, and in that case you'll have to turn this as well on log format, and rest of the stuff. Numeric format for values, you can say, let's say this is revenue in dollars, so we'll say dollar. Okay, let's go. I think I have captured it in the slides as well. Okay, I haven't captured it, seems. Okay, so here it is dollar, and numeric format I believe you guys must have used. And this is the numeric format, and we'll save it and we will look in preview. Okay, so still you can see actual label values are not getting appeared, so we'll have to configure so that label will get appeared for value. So go to value section, here is values, show item labels, so we'll say show labels, and item label font, let it default, and now we have this format, and we'll so yeah, so now you can see it started appearing. There is a dollar currency logo also added before that, and that standard. Okay, so it seems I made a mistake in numeric format, and instead of 1000 separator I added 100 separator, and let's change it, yeah, here. So it should be 1000 separator, and you can see now it is $121.30. Now these figures, because we know this data is in billion, so we can add hard-coded string at the end of value label as billion, and B for billion. And in fact there was a rotation, label rotation if required, we can also do that. Yeah, it's not looking good, but for illustration, let me change it. I'm not finding it good at all. So now you can see, oh, what happened? Since I changed somewhere else. Yeah. And for x-axis rotation, I guess, yeah, I removed here. Yeah, so you can see you can customize the label format as well as you can customize the tick. So this is Y tick. Maximum is 175 billion. It is automatically taking, and label formatting we have already done. The blue color it has taken. So these all types of customization you can achieve through that chart configuration window. So this is how you can build a chart. and you can configure data source, which is table data source, which we extracted from Excel. Now these are the basic elements of any bar chart. This is profit versus sales. So this particular chart as a outcome of the report, you can see profit versus chart, which is chart title. Now we in this illustration probably we haven't given chart title. Okay, we have given chart title which is top 5 companies, whereas in this slide it is profit versus sales. Then these are the tick labels. Here they're customized because 150B. So it just customized means added format. Just like here we have added format for value, we have added format for y-axis. So this you can do it on your own, and in case of any issues we can again discuss. This is y-axis range, you can see horizontally. This is x-axis range horizontally. Sorry, this was vertically y-axis range. This is horizontally x-axis range. We don't have a range as such, we have just static elements. So this is orange color, this is the legend, which is sales and profit. 2 elements are there. In the background you can see grid lines, you can turn them on and off depending on your requirement. These element names or terms are very important when especially you are configuring chart element, because all those configurations will be using these terms, and for that you should understand, like for example you need to configure plot background. Then what is plot background, you should be aware of. So what is the difference between plot background and chart background? So whatever is in this rectangle box is plot background, outside that it is chart background. So this is all about bar chart and its basic nomenclature. So let's move on. And this particular chart is useful in doing comparative study. So for example, sales is orange, yellow is profit. Now if you want to say, okay, I am an investor and I want to invest in a company where margin, they are doing business with a smaller margin, because margin is always under a tremendous pressure. If there is new competitor in the market, then margin will go for a toss, which will go under pressure and they will have to reduce the margin. So rather than that, I want to play safe. So where people, the company is making more money on lower margin, I want to look at that. So you can very well look at that, and you can quickly see on the last element, which is Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company. So they are doing, okay, so actually it's other way around. They have huge margin, but we want, there is too much sales. Okay, so $179 billion sales and only 20 billion profit. So you can see margin, you can calculate basically this profit divided by sales. So that way this is the company which is having least margin. So I was right, this is the company which is having least margin in this top 5. So if my investors perspective was go with low margin, then this is the right investment instrument for me. So that type of decision will be helpful with comparative analysis.